This is a goose, one of the many waterfowl species of duck. Very elegant creatures, aren't they? Geese can be highly sociable animals. The following footage is not one of those examples. The Untitled Goose game is a 2019 stealth and puzzle game developed by Australian-born indie company House House. In doing research for this video, I couldn't find much on House House as they seem to be rather quiet. However, the stuff that I did find did intrigue me. House House released their first game back in 2016 called Push Me Pull You, which was a multiplayer sports game where you and your partner are joined at the waist sharing a single worm-like body and try to take possession of a ball for the longest period of time. With every action affecting both you and your partner, Push Me Pull You combines the best parts of co-op multiplayer with the worst parts of your last breakup. This game actually received several awards, with some saying it'll go down as one of the best couch co-ops in history, evoking only laughs and smiles from its players. So with one successful gem of a game under their belt, what was next for House House? The Untitled Goose game. The Untitled Goose game was their next title, and it received nothing but positive reactions and critical acclaim. Even though the game on the surface is just you causing mischief in a, let's call it, Goose Village, while the locals are just trying to go about their day, but it goes much deeper than that. What up, people of the internet? My name is Spoke to the Plug, and this is the simple genius of the Untitled Goose game. Untitled Goose game, upon its release, received widespread praise from players as its joyful, simplistic nature and playful art style really seemed to resonate with players. The main game itself isn't that long, as I probably beat it in just 3 hours. It has very few controls. You can interact with or grab just about any accessible object, flap your wings, you can run, and everyone's favorite dedicated honk button. I'm going to explain the main story of the Untitled Goose game in as short a time as possible. So, here we go. There are 5 main areas throughout the village: the garden, the plaza, the backyards, the restaurant, and the model village, with each area containing a list to do. Well, a to-do list, I'm sorry. With the main to-do object being marked with an asterisk. Completing that task advances you to the next area. The end goal is to get to the model village and steal a church bell from the model church and bring it all the way back to the goose's nest. Only this time the residents of the village are on high alert as you try to make your way back, so you have to quietly, or not so quietly depending on who you are, traverse back to the residents, because if you are caught, they'll work together bringing the bell all the way back to the beginning. Successfully getting the bell to the goose's nest completes the game and the credits roll. It's short, sweet, and enjoyable. Even once you've completed the main game, there are more tasks to complete around the village than before, and a few years later, House has added a co-op mode for you to play with your friends or family and cause double the chaos around the village. The thing that stands out about this game is the amount of wacky mischiefs you can get into. Even though the game encourages you to mess with the villagers, it doesn't really promote a ton of chaos like a goat simulator would. Similar to the way Stray makes you feel like you're a cat, the Untitled Goose game exceeds in making you feel like you're a goose. You can honk and distract, or even startle some residents. You can untie the shoelaces of some residents, so when they run, they trip over. And what complements all of your antics is they're all being scored by an amazing piano by Donald Golding, adopted from the classical musical stylings of Claude Debussy. It is weirdly addicting, messing with the people around the village, taking their things, breaking their valuables, maybe honking while they're really trying to concentrate so it throws them off. As I mentioned earlier, there are various optional tasks to do in the game, with at least a dozen at every area, and even more once you complete it to give a tad bit more longevity to the game. The devs describe it as a simple, slapstick stealth sandbox, but if this video hasn't told you already, that, and its simple nature, is only on the surface of this charming, seemingly childish game. The puzzles and tasks become deceptively complex the further you go into the game, and the playful art style combined with the sophisticated puzzles and deceptive tasks also add to the fact that you're a goose. Hold up. I just thought about something. This game's puzzles are deceptively difficult. For its playful nature, like, children alike can play this game, but even I, for some parts of the game, had to scratch my head at this deceivingly childish demeanor of this game. But with the sophisticated puzzles and the sets of tasks, also add on to the fact that you are a goose, makes for an extremely enjoyable and somewhat cathartic experience. If I can just go off script here and say that this mini review / retrospective on the Untitled Goose game has really got me to think about it. I think looking back on this game, I didn't play it when it first came out. I remember it first being announced by House. I forget if it was on a Nintendo Direct or a PlayStation Showcase, because it is on both consoles, I think. But it definitely struck me as a game that would definitely be enjoyed by certain players. At first glance, it didn't look like my kind of game, I gotta admit it. But just recently, I think a few months earlier ago in this year, I went to my local GameStop and I purchased the Untitled Goose game, the physical copy at least, and I got it for a decent price. It wasn't that high at the time. It had been out for near 3 years, and I brought it home, and I don't know what I was expecting at the time, but for the price it was and for the time I spent on it, it was a really enjoyable experience, and I recommend anyone who hasn't played yet or experienced this game hands-on, I'd say is well worth it. I'd say getting it, talking about it. House, like I said, I tried to do some research on them earlier, just a bit, and they are deceptively quiet. I mean, I did some research into Push Me Pull You, their first game way back in 2016, and it looks so much fun. It looks hilarious, it looks hysterical, it looks really enjoyable. Definitely the kind of thing you want to play with your friends, get them all on the couch and enjoy with your friends and family. And if that's the kind of tone that House has with their games, I can only imagine like what was brewing through their heads when that game ended and then it came time for a single player experience. But no, we don't want to have you play as your standard protagonist. We're gonna give you a goose. We're gonna have you play as a goose, so we're gonna have you cause mischief around this village. And the world itself, I got the physical copy that came equipped with a map of the entire village, and when I opened the map up, it seemed so much larger than I expected to. And even now, with some hours put into the game well after I've beaten it, there are still areas that I won't say inaccessible, but there are still some things that I have yet to unlock and get from this game. But for the most part, going through it my way, because I assume everyone plays it differently as you would with most games, I had a set goal of completing as many tasks as possible before moving on. So as I maybe touched on earlier, when you enter a new area, you're given a set of tasks, and the main objective is marked by an asterisk, and that will advance you. But narratively, as far as the structure of the game goes, you have to complete smaller objectives to achieve that main objective. But even once that main objective was able to be completed, I still want to stick around and complete smaller objectives, because I knew once the moment I beat it, I didn't know how the ending was going to be, but I knew once I'd beaten it, I would want to go back to try to beat them all. And much like something akin to a Mario game, there is way more after game activity than there is, throughout the main thing that they want you to do. And I mean, as you guys can tell probably by just this footage that I chose to use in the background, when going back to play this game for this video, I just had fun messing around with the gardener and the little boy with the glasses and the shopkeeper and the people in the backyard. And it was just fun going back and doing that again. And I think I really want to get someone here to kind of play the co-op mode that I had missed out on, last year or a year or two ago when it came out. And funnily enough, I had missed it completely when I loaded it back up for this video and saw there was a co-op mode, which I wasn't sure if was there when I bought it. It must have been, because it came out, years before I had bought it, which would make sense. But I don't remember that ever being there. It felt new to me, like why would there ever be a co-op mode for a game like this? But it definitely does seem like a fun thing to do. I saw the trailer for the co-op mode before going into this video and it looked really fun. But I mean, as I touched on earlier, if you guys have not played this game, I highly recommend it. Looking back on it and playing it again, it was really fun. I even accidentally, quote unquote, beat the game a second time just because I had so much fun just messing with everyone and flapping my wings and honking at everything and running and hiding in boxes. And it's really you're like it's like Metal Gear, but you're a goose, and it's honestly amazing, and it's a really fun experience. And I love these parts of the videos where I just kind of go off script and explain very rawly how I feel about these games. I just think writing it helps me more gather my thoughts down in a more proper way. This one kind of went off the rails, but I mean, much like the goose, I have caused nothing but chaos and in this video. But I think that's all I have to say. I mean, it's not like the God of War game that's coming out soon that I'll be having a much longer video about, I think. But you know, the Untitled Goose game wasn't that long, and as I like to say with a lot of these videos, and you know, I'm keeping it short. And let me know what you guys think if you've played the Untitled Goose game, or if you've seen the Untitled Goose game, if you would like to experience it yourself. Let me know your favorite parts of it. Let me know what you'd like to see from it. And let me know what you thought of this video. If you guys want to see me revisit the Untitled Goose game again, talk about something else, I would be happy to do that. And yeah, leave a like on this video and subscribe if you're new. And the next video coming out will be a Splatoon video, so be on the lookout for that. Really excited for that one coming out. And yeah, so I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace. Thanks for watching.